Okay guys, Copier pundits, this is proof that the nerds will inherit the Copier world. Basically, this is the newsletter article we're talking about. This is evidence that what I say and what I've been leaving on people's pages is not a load of rubbish, because this is a serious professional magazine, or newsletter. Now, we're just going to have a look here. Scroll down. Oh, there's actually a couple of messages about the Copier world here that applies to me. I think it's in this one. No, that's another one, but anyway. So yeah, this is a serious magazine, newsletter. So this shows technician jobs here. And this is the September 2012 newsletter, alright? So that proves that the Copier world belongs to the nerds. It doesn't belong to the money grubbing, the people who are into money, because, but basically it's going to belong to the nerds because someone actually said that right here. But then money's killing every industry anyway, so it's not to personally have a jibe at the industry, because I love the industry dearly, but it just seems to be a trend going on. But no, something positive is on the rise actually, because the industry is recovering from what I've seen, and I'm really happy to see that. But basically, this is very strange because, but this is September, so the industry's gone for a bit of a dive. It went for, and basically, there's the words right in front of us. It's right there in clear, black and white. The nerds will inherit the Copier world. So it's cosmically strange. Yep, doesn't surprise me. It ain't surprisingly now. So, and then of course there are other things that. So yeah, this is just a bunch of comments. So on this newsletter, so they're talking about things like outdated skill sets, but and then there's all these other. So they had this thing in here that says, for example, this is an example of an improvement in the industry, is that basically, the improvement in the industry we see, one of the things I saw is that here we got an article that said, they reckon there's been a rumour going on about Sharp selling off its Copier business, but apparently from what I've seen in another blog, Sharp are making a recovery. Isn't that amazing? And so I'm just trying to see. So we've got Rico makes not going into too much detail, but that's the article there. Sound off, our readers speak. And some of the comments, well, we saw the first one. The nerds will inherit the Copier world, and there's another key one which talks about the money issue. Comment that someone writes, Breaking Dad is fixed, or should we say, I've got it wrong. Oh yeah, by the way, the song that's playing in the background is a cool song called, what's it called? It's Implosion, I think it's called, and that sort of describes what the Copier world has been doing for a while, according to what I've been reading and hearing. So, basically another one that I think I've heard at least twice is basically, well, not this first bit, but basically, I don't know what M&S stands for, but basically it says, break fix is dead. It's all going to M&S. The boxes are just commodities. Which means these guys have observed that the copiers are just nothing more than a money revenue, but everything's a money revenue these days. We've got we've got, you know, Samsung and Apple getting involved in big wrangles that, you know, and then you got it. It's just pretty to look at, isn't it? So basically, the Samsung and Apple are involved in a huge wrangle, and although Apple seem to have made the worst advance into the money grubbing game, it looks like Samsung's getting stuck into the money too. But it's not just them; it's the whole dang lot. And when I was a young Xerox technician working in a workshop back in 1990, I actually had this horrible thought that I actually asked some of the technicians, I said, oh, I hope they don't make throwaway copiers one day. 1990, and what have we got? We got copiers now with printer, with that disposable, because the printer, this is inkjet, these little home things. And you want to know what's really crazy, guys? My mum gets them in her bin from one of her neighbours. And I actually had an issue with this neighbour too, by the way. I annoyed him so much that he just grabs me by the shoulders and walks me out the door. So I'm sure there's something that's very personal, but basically she gets printers in a bin from this individual, and I'm not going to dob him in, but basically you can get into big trouble for electronic waste, and she could get busted for it. And she's got the bleeding worries on her shoulders at the moment, and she doesn't need that, but that's what the world's doing. So the nerds will inherit the copier world. There you go. That's true.